by far one of my favorite type of videos to do is when I get to the polls that I'm posting all the time and commenting on your answers. We're gonna start immediately because there's too many. With my own money, I would rather buy 52% Rolex Explorer, 34% Oyster Perpetual, 14% Air King. I honestly don't understand the dislike over the Air King. I asked many people and most people don't like it. I, on the other hand, love it. You guys know by now I love busy dials, and that's certainly one of the reasons. But the other reason is that it has that pop of color, that yellow crown with the very nice deep green, very rich green on the second hand and the Rolex writing. So I really, really like it. Now, the Explorer obviously is the most versatile out of all of these. Well, I mean, yeah, the Oyster Perpetual would be that. But the Explorer is the winner. Like in every poll that I've seen, everyone loves the Explorer. Even though it's a very simple watch, I can see myself wearing it, honestly, and I don't like simple watches, but for some reason that has it's very well balanced, and I think that's what I like about it. But Air King, for me, it would be between the Explorer and the Air King, honestly. Yeah. The best material for watch, in my opinion, is stainless steel, unsurprisingly 65%. Titanium, 22%. Titanium. Gold, 12%, and 1% bronze. That surprised to me because bronze has been loved a lot in the past few years. The first that brought the trend was Panerai with the bronzo, and then everybody took it from Tudor to smaller brands like Christopher Ward. You name it, everybody almost has. IWC has a bronze watch. But nobody likes it, apparently. I personally don't like it either. I don't like the patina. Everybody loves the patina. I mean, I like my watches to look like new. Stainless steel, I love it. Absolutely love it. The only issue I have with that is price. So if it's very highly priced, I want some, at least, gold in it. Maybe white gold, maybe even rose gold. I honestly, the older I get, the more I like gold. Unpopular opinion, but I'm up to that age now. I'm in my 40s, so I think open caseback in a watch is it depends on the movement, 65%, not important, 23%, very important, 12%. I would go to it depends on the movement. I think you guys are 100% right, because yeah, like that Oris movement, unless you're a very dedicated Oris fan, there's not much to look at, honestly. There's not many finishes, but pictures that I have, not important. That Grand Seiko there, that is a beauty. So it depends. It really depends. But I would like to have it than not have it. Like if I had to pick between those two, I would say always have it, because I like to see it. I like things moving. It's so nice. The most iconic diver, in my opinion, is 81% Rolex Submariner, 10% Seiko SKX, 4% Panerai Luminor, and 4% Doxa Sub 300. Honestly, this one I don't get. I mean, obviously I get why Rolex is winning, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, all the other ones are iconic in their own sense. Now, the Submariner is the one that everybody copied to make watches to this day, but iconic also means different to me, and that's why I need to have a Panerai Luminor at some point in my life. But yeah, I mean, definitely Submariner, I would say too. So the quality, a quality bracelet, in my opinion, is very important, 92%. What's a bracelet? 8%. So most of us like a good bracelet, agreed. Then we went to the most important part of a bracelet is the clasp micro adjustments, 50%, 29% for the weight and articulation, and the way the links are attached to each other, 13%, and the end links attachments, 8%. So that's if it has a quick remove system. Then the way the links are attached, are they screwed? Are they with pins like IWC is doing? Really all the Richmond big brands. Clasp, clearly very important. I would assume that it depends on the watch. I mean, the articulation of a watch, if you ever had a bracelet that does not articulate right, or it pulls hair from your arm, you would probably understand why the articulation and the weight can be very important. I have a very beautiful looking mesh bracelet for my Breitling, and it's very thick. I bought it from Long Island Watches. It's very thick. It looks luxurious. It looks expensive, but it's really heavy, and it pulls hair. And it doesn't articulate that much. It wears like a stiff bracelet around the wrist. So I think for me, I would always take weight and articulation first, and then second, it would be the clasp. But you guys talked. I typically buy watches from authorized dealers, 56%. Wow. Gray market and used watch dealers, 25%. eBay, 17%. 2% Facebook forums. On this one, I mean, if I had unlimited resources, maybe I would do the same. I would buy from authorized dealers, but because I don't, I like to buy from gray market, Facebook forums, and eBay, not necessarily without order. It depends. Now that eBay has the authenticity guarantee, I tend to like that. It gives me a sense of security, especially if the watch doesn't come with box and papers. So that is kind of important. Facebook forums, I mentioned this many times before. I go to Facebook forums. I'm a member in many years, so I know everybody by name. So I know I don't even have to ask for references before I buy something from them. So that's how I do it. I save a lot of money by doing that. But that's very impressive that you guys go to authorized dealers. I didn't expect that, honestly. The best watch size, in my opinion, is 41%, 52%, 38%, 32%, and 9%, 36%, and 44 and above, 7%. Now, many came and answered, it depends on the watch, it depends on the wrist. That's very subjective. Agreed 100%. But I think you guys hit the nail on the head. 41% is the best for most. It depends on the watch. Obviously, if it's too plain, I don't want it to be more than 39. Like a Rolex Explorer at 40 looks empty to me. At 39, it looks just perfect. 36, I love it, but I have a larger size wrist. It's 7.25 or close to 7.5 almost. So, and because I like to wear them loose on top of everything, I don't like my watches right on the wrist, so I have to wear them a little back. And yeah, it looks tiny if I do that. So 39 is just perfect. So for something like the Explorer on an Austria Perpetual kind of watch, up to 39, but anything with complications, busy dials, you need 40, 41. I have bigger watches. I have 44, I have 42, I had 43. They're nice, but you can certainly feel them on the wrist. So you always need to go back to something much smaller, lighter for everyday use. At least that's what I'm finding. I think long-term, Omega will be more successful if it becomes independent, 74%, stays in the Swatch group, 26%. I'm not surprised by this. I'm surprised actually for the 26% that think it's better for them to be in the Swatch group. If you look at the business side of things short-term, I agree with you 100%. They have all the resources they need. They have all the factories working for them. They have all the money that comes with the Swatch group. But long-term, independence means production in numbers that make sense for the brand. It means quality control. Not that they don't have good quality, but they could bring everything in Switzerland instead of having different countries, and then we have videos like this talking about them, how Swiss they are or not, especially for that price point. Omegas are cheaper than Rolexes, but that doesn't mean they're cheap. You know, most of them start at around $5,000, so that's not cheap. I would expect Swiss for that, like real Swiss. In my opinion, the most important brand is Omega, 77%, Longines, 23%. I agree, but once you go deep into the history of the two, Longines has such a great history. I would expect this to be closer to 50-50. Going back to the group conversation, Swatch decided that Omega will be the one that's above Longines. It could easily be the opposite, if you ask me. And they could invest all that money to Longines. But Longines is great. And Omega definitely, I mean, for what everybody knows, and I would agree, yeah, it would be on top. But Longines, I would expect to be much closer. When it comes to servicing my watches, I take it when I see issues, 86%. I follow the recommendation service intervals, 14%. I agree with you 100%. I don't want to spend a dime that I don't have to spend. That's it. The most important aspect I'm looking for when I buy a watch is design, 63%, movement, 18%, recognizability, price, 11%, and recognizability, 8%. I wonder how honest you guys are for this one, because recognizability in my everyday life, I find it to be the most important. And because typically price is high for that, people go for designs, and especially they go for something that looks like a little more expensive. For example, I have the Tissot PRX for a reason here. It looks like other watches, right? Integrated style watches, integrated bracelet. When buying watches, I typically buy what I like, no matter what, 54%. Buy when the price is right, 30%. 16% only buy blue chip brands. Now, when it comes to this, I have to say, I buy when the price is right. I always I'm in the look for watches every day for years. 11 years now. I've been like every day I'm looking for watches. And there's many models I like. Some of my watches I bought only because the price was right. And it wasn't my first priority. It was maybe 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it wasn't that far down. I would love to buy it one day, but the price was right. So because of the timing, I jumped on it. I never regret it, honestly. Even when I sold some of them at a later time, I sold them only to release funds to prepare for another watch. So yeah, that's it. I mean, you get typically the best deals when you're open-minded like that. If you buy what you want no matter what, that's great, but you're gonna pay a price for it. In my opinion, Tag Heuer is properly rated, 45%, overrated, 37%, and underrated, 17%. Tag Heuer of 5 years ago was certainly overrated. I think right now they're underrated. I think they stepped up the game by a lot. The kind of judgment that we did for the in-house movement of Breitling in previous videos doesn't apply here because they did everything ETA. They never competed really with the likes of Omegas and Rolexes. They were always considered a step down. Not that they're bad by any means, don't get me wrong. But I think they stepped up their game even at the low end, at the entry level. And then they did some crazy things with the high end. So I think they're underrated right now. If I could only have one type of movement for the rest of my life, it would be automatic mechanical 70%, spring drive 19%, quartz 10%. I would agree with this. I would expect spring drive to be a little more, but that's how I would do it, really. I mean, if I had one for the rest of my life, it would probably be a mechanical, traditional, probably not even silicone spring. I would just wanted to have it as traditional as possible when it comes to this. It's a deal breaker if a watch has bad clasp, 52%, bad crown, 27%, Bad bezel action, 21%. Agreed 100%. I'm into the watch hobby because great YouTubers, and I have Tristano there from the Urban Gentry. It's because I start learning a lot about watches through Tristano. Tristano is incredible. He will probably never see this video, but Tristano is an original. And family influence, that's amazing. And then show off lifestyle influencers. The way I phrased it there probably didn't help you to click, but maybe I should say social media influence. Maybe that would be better. But great YouTubers, that's great to know. I like to store my watches in a watch box, 78%. It depends on the watch, 18%, 5% on a watch winder. I agree 100% with you. I have mine in a watch box. I never even thought about getting a watch winder because I don't own a perpetual calendar. So what would be the purpose of it? Assuming the same price and resale value, I would rather buy something else, 53%, Rolex, 47%. I think this is still high for Rolex. This is incredible. That tells you what kind of brand recognition and love it gets. Because I'm really telling you, same price, same resale value, what would you buy? And half of you still say Rolex. That is incredible. Like, that's how Rolex gets all that market share. It's incredible to see. It's a matter of demand. Yes, they make 1.3 million watches, at least that's the rumors. But they have tens of millions of requests for watches. So when it comes to watches and different occasions, seasons, I believe that you can. I don't care. There's no rules. 69%. Wear the proper watch. 24%. Break the rules. 8%. I think there are some rules, but you can definitely break them depending on the occasion. For example, a Panerai Luminor, as much as I like it, would I want to wear it with a tuxedo? I could. Nobody would say anything. People don't even look at people's wrists like I do. I'm a weirdo. I look at people's wrists all the time. My wife keeps telling me people are going to think I'm looking at their, because, when you walk, your wrist is down here. So I'm looking down there all the time. So it's weird. But I would like to wear, ideally, the right watch. That being said, most of the times you can dress down a dressier watch, but it's harder to dress up a sporty watch. So at least in my opinion, I think my watches should have water resistance to at least 100 meters for everyday use, 82%. 30 meters, who cares anyway, 12%. 300 meters or more, because I can, 6%. I agree with you guys, although I think we have a fear about that 30-meter water resistance. Some of you commented, one of you commented the other day that they had to take out their Breitling Navi timer because it was raining. If there's really issue with that, I think you need to take it to a watchmaker and have it checked, because at 30 meters water resistance, you shouldn't have any issues wearing it and washing your hands and doing many things. So yeah, I think we're a little too scared with that. But does it give me a peace of mind to have at least 100 meters? Sure. In my opinion, a watch company can claim a movement as their own if, I did this because of Breitling, have complete vertical control. 66%, and we have almost 300 votes here. 66% have complete vertical control. 20% design but produced by third party. Add-on modules / functions, 11%, and 3% surprisingly said any touch to it. If you add a rotor to it, it's yours. It's like dogs that pee, I guess, in the corners, and they claim that as their own. But in reality, I agree with you. I think complete vertical control is real in-house. Everything else is half measures. And for companies that sell watches over $5,000, I expect them to have everything in-house. If somebody like NOMOS can do it, they can do it, especially the big brands that have lots of money behind them. So That's my humble opinion. Typically, I buy watches when I see something I like, 49%. I have disposable income, 29%. I celebrate something, 22%. That's a great ranking, I agree, 100%. In an emergency scenario where I don't know if or when I'm going back home, I would get my Gshock digital watch, 47%. Rolex luxury watch, 40%. Patek any gold watch, 13%. Honestly, if tomorrow there was some kind of conflict and I knew I have to go out, I would grab my Gshock first and anything else after, because yeah, I don't want to drop it by accident and then it stops working. If my life depended on it, I would get the Gshock every day of the week. Now, if I could have both and pull a Schwarzkopf and have a Casio and a Rolex, and then maybe I can trade the Rolex if something happens, sure. But if I had to have something like a tool, Gshock any day of the week, no questions asked. I consider a watch to be vintage if it's made before 1980s, 55%, 1990s, 31%, 2000s, 14%. I mean, 90s right now, if it's 1990, it's 35 years ago. So it's at the borderline, I would call it neo-vintage. So I agree with this, honestly. I agree with this. 2000s, it's getting up there, but still is not that old. It's a contemporary watch. I believe that summer watches are a marketing trick, 49%, absolutely a thing, 28%, and then 11% both all divers watches, all gata watches. So I would say that the same way you have different watches for different occasions, you have more wintry watches, more summer watches. For example, when I mean, it's the way it makes you feel, right? It's all about the feeling. When I see a bronze case, a dark green dial, a distressed brown leather strap, I imagine fall. Like my head goes to fall. Like I want nice music, get a watch on the wrist and go out. But when I see something like this squale that I have here, that's summer. It screams summer. It doesn't get more summery than this. I actually love this watch. That I would buy. So yeah, I would say, in my opinion, it is a thing. That, of course, doesn't mean that you have to spend money for it. By no means. And any good gata watch could probably pull the trick, because you can just change the strap, put something on the rubber, or do whatever, a fancy, nice, flashy color, and you make it summery just like that. So it depends. It depends. But I think it's a thing. That's all for today, guys. Let me know what you think. What do you think about these questions? Did you even vote? Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one. Ciao.